What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and we are going to be discussing the brand new Super Saiyan Broly Zenkai Awakening. Yeah, the Holy Trinity is back. This could be a good thing. This could be a really bad thing. It really just depends on how this guy's kit is. But as we know, between Zenkai Broly, Zenkai Gogeta, and Zenkai Super Saiyan Bardock, the Holy Trinity itself, but on its own, is back. And that's probably going to be a little scary, but again, as long as this Broly isn't too overpowered, shouldn't be too bad. But we're going to jump into that, plus go over a bunch of the other stuff that released today, because there's some pretty interesting stuff that's going on. So we will be jumping into that. But first, let's jump into Super Saiyan Broly. So looks like nothing has really changed outside of him having the powerful opponent tag in terms of his tags. He's at 7 stars. He's at 7 stars and 5,000. So we're gonna go through and reflect like we kind of have been with these Zenkai banner or these Zenkai detail releases. We're gonna jump back and forth between the two different pieces of information and just kind of go over and see what all has changed with him. So firstly, let's look at his stats. So before Zenkai, he had 2.5 million health, 214 strike, 232 blast, 151 and 148 defenses. Nothing too crazy to write home about. Really all this guy kind of needed was some minor things done to his kit and a stat buff. So after the Zenkai, he now goes to 2.51, 222 strike, and 241 blast. And then his defenses go up only slightly by about 2,000. So really his damage is really what kind of went up more than anything. If you have him at 14 stars, he goes from 243 to 263 and up to 251, 273. His defenses actually get kind of high at the higher tiers. So yeah, I mean, stat-wise, I think this guy got exactly what he needed, was just a significant stat buff. Yeah, like the defenses didn't go up all too much. He got just enough to kind of put him up there with some of the other units in the game. And yeah, he's not too crazy in terms of stats. So his main ability, Uncontrollable Anger, before just transformed him and he gained health. And now he just, in addition, he now cancels his own attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions, and that's a pretty all right change. Like nothing really changed in that regard. So I don't know why Destruction Aims Clash of Power is on here twice. Yeah, I don't know why that's on here twice. So with this guy beforehand, we'll just kind of gently go over some of this stuff. So it looks like it's this is throwing me off. I'm sorry, guys. So Destruction's Aim nullifies his own unfavorable element factors for 15 timer counts. Every time this character enters the battlefield, it happens twice. And the following effects occur according to the number of counts elapsed. 5 counts. 5 counts increases Art's card draw speed by 1, and then 12 counts increases Art draw speed by 2. That has now changed to. This didn't change, but it's now 3 counts and 12 counts. So nothing too crazy there. And then for Clash of Powers, following effects occur according to the amount of damage taken in proportions to his own max health after enemy attack is over. Went from 5 to 35%, which is a 20% increase to his damage. 35 or more gave him 40 after the Zenkai. That is now at... Where'd it go? That has to be like something wrong with the coding that they put in. That's okay though. So that went from, that's still 20 and 20 timer counts. Stays at 20 timer counts. Okay, so Clash Powers didn't change at all. Actually, no, it did. It went from 5% to 30% and then 30% as opposed to 35. So that got a little bit of an increase as well. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. But now we get into his Adept and Powerful unlocks, which could be pretty devastating. So let's take a look and see what that does. So for Barbaric Onslaught at Zenkai level 3, applies the following effects to self every time this character uses a strike or blast. Plus 10% to ultimate damage inflicted, up to 30%. Okay, so he's getting a up to 30% damage inflicted, which is similar to what the new yellow Super Saiyan Broly does. But not as like aggressive, obviously. And then plus 5% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. Also applies the following effects to self every time an enemy uses a strike arts while this character is on the battlefield. 10% to strike damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. And then gain attribute upgrade minus 15 to enemy sustained damage cut effects for 10 timer counts. Okay, nothing too crazy here. Decent amount of self buffs, which is something that this unit always kind of lacked. So he's able to do just a little bit more. But nothing too crazy, obviously. Like 5% for 10 timer counts, like that can add up after a while, especially with card draw speed. But this 10%, it's really not anything too nuts or too concerning. So all in all, this is a perfectly fine level 3 Zenkai ability. Not too overpowering or overshadowing of other units, and is definitely not as scary. And then at Zenkai level 6, applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. Restores ki by 30. Which definitely, you know, he needed something like this. He has no ki restore whatsoever, so having that is actually pretty good. Plus 30% to damage inflicted, cannot be stacked. And then minus 3 to blast arts card. Okay, so he gets a little bit of a damage buff here. He gets a little bit of a damage buff here with strike damage when he gets hit by a strike arts card. If this, I'd probably be a little more concerned if this was buffing his blast damage. Whenever an enemy used blast arts or strike arts, I'd be a little more concerned with that, but it's not. All in all, his kit isn't too, it's not too aggressive. It's not too oppressive either. Like it's just right. I feel like Red Gogeta in terms of the Holy Trinity, I feel like Red Gogeta probably got the better kit upgrade as opposed to Broly or Bardock. So yeah. In terms of how this guy will be in battle though, especially alongside the other 3, I don't know. Maybe we might actually do a showcase video, which is, wow, shocker, I know. We don't really do showcase videos too much, but we might do one just to kind of test this out, but we'll see. So nothing with his strike. Obviously he gets obviously he still has blast armor, blast, and then the blast shot doesn't do much. Special move Planet Crusher used to do deals massive explode damage, destroy 2 enemy cards on hit, and then can't be nullified by most other special moves. And that has gone to, okay, so he gets a little bit more of a buff here. Inflicts attribute downgrade plus 15% to blast damage received. Okay, that's a little scary. That's just a little scary. But that didn't change too much outside of that. So yeah. And then his green went from 20% to damage, blast damage inflicted for 20 timer counts upon activation, and it reduces enemy ki by 50 and inflicts force switching on hit. And that also has blast armor. And then with the Zenkai, that became 20% for 20 timer counts. That's the same. That didn't change. Reduces enemy ki by 50 and does force switching. Also reduces damage received by 15% for 10 timer counts. Okay. Again, the thing that this guy lacked was more individual support for himself. So while this might be somewhat devastating, now that I'm actually seeing the full picture here, this might be somewhat devastating depending on the situation in which he's in. This will also benefit him greatly as well. I still don't think his kit's better than Gogeta's, personally. And then obviously, you know, he buffs Sagas from the movies. And now he's buffing Purple and Sagas from the movies up to 35 and 40. Okay. Decent buff there. Which, if we actually go and take a look... Go take a look at the other characters. Let's see if we can find... let's see if we can find them. Where is Red Zenkai Gogeta? There he is. In terms of his Zenkai, I want to see what does he buff? Movies, right? No, he buffs Fusion Warriors. Okay. So that's the one thing that's actually going to kind of hinder the Holy Trinity a little bit, is that none of these tags are actually like benefiting one another. If you're going to be running Holy Trinity again, you are going to probably want to run Zenkai Bardock. Because if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've used him. But Zenkai Bardock, I believe his Zenkai buff basically buffs Saiyans. Is that correct? Like, he still buffs Super Saiyans. Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's blue and Saiyans. So, again, if you're running the Holy Trinity, like, this is what everyone is more or less kind of afraid of, I think, in terms of, like, how oppressive a unit can be, is when they are able to benefit off one another. But they're really not going to be able to here. So, in terms of buffs, like, the only thing that's going to happen is, you know, the Super Saiyan buffs that Bardock is going to really be able to give them. Outside of that, their standard kits and their Zenkai kits that by themselves aren't really going to do much. But I don't know. Again, it just depends on in practice how it looks. So, yeah, I think, yeah, because like all this is scary, obviously. So, yeah, I don't know. We will have to see. But we'll do a showcase video at some point in the next week or so, and I'll have that uploaded, and we'll kind of test the waters and see if Holy Trinity is back up to par with what the rest of the meta is kind of like. So, yeah. Fun, exciting times, guys. So we got a brand new event coming. Look at this. Your battle power is astonishing event. This is another ladder type event, and it's going to be going up against all the different types of Frieza units. 1,000 Chrono Crystals for completing, so keep that in mind. Definitely go through and do this if you are able to. They started doing this thing now with these ladder events, where at level 30, it's now level 5,000, like all the way to up to 50 and 51. So, obviously these missions are probably going to be a little bit harder than what we're used to, but again, it shouldn't be anything too difficult. All the bonus units are, where were the bonus units? Does it show it here? I don't know if that does show it here. Yeah, so there's these 3 units here. All these Brolys buff this, will buff, not buff, but all 3 of these units will get a big buff against these fights. And then these guys will as well. I think later on in the ladder, I think Yellow Gogeta and what is it? Purple God Goku and transforming God Vegeta. They're going to be the 100%. So keep that in mind when you're doing this event. Obviously, we're getting another set of missions, and one of them being pretty interesting, all things considered. Obviously, we're going to get the 1000th Day Celebration missions, and that's just more of the 1000-day medals and some more energy. So nothing crazy there. But what's kind of interesting to me is this. Deadly Confrontation main story completion campaign. Now, there's going to story part 9, chapter 4 is releasing today as well. So more story event missions. But weirdly enough, we're getting Chrono Crystals for doing this. Obviously, we're getting a new title You're getting a bunch of energy from this event. But the real question is, the real question is what does this mean? Main story completion campaign. Obviously, in the Battle Hours segment, there was a big interview. There was a big interview-esque type of thing where Toshi answered a lot of questions, and he was talking about where they had the story going. And while he wasn't too specific about what was going on, they did say they had a certain vision. So I'm wondering if something with this is kind of pertaining to the new story element. I'm not going to go through the story missions just because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, just by, you know, title and stuff. So if you guys really want to know what's going on with this, definitely go through the main story and see. But very clearly, this is different than what we've seen with other story-based like missions that they've released before. So this could be the end of a certain chapter before going into the next chapter. So who knows? We'll have to see. And then last thing before we end the video, guys, we got a brand new Sparking Limit Break Step Up banner. This is a one-time summon through. It's only up for about a week. You're gonna get Legends Limited Z power from this, guys. So there's a brand new sale. I don't know if I can actually look up and see what the sale is gonna look like. I can take a look before we end the video. But there's gonna be new sales going on and whatnot. If you have the Chrono Crystals, definitely do this because Legends Limited Z power is pretty good, and we just got Zenkai Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So if you need the extra Z power, definitely consider doing it because that's something. So by looking at this though, like, you're not spending that much in terms of Chrono Crystals. You're spending 2,000, less than 3,000 Chrono Crystals, guys. So this is 100% worth it. Just because of the amount of Sparking Z power that you're getting at the end. Just look at this. You're getting 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. You're getting 1,000 standard Z power on top of the Legends Limited Z power. That's nuts. Like, do it. Do this banner. In terms of who's all here, obviously, I don't necessarily need more of this Vegeta. I can use more of Super Vegito. I can use more Goku. I can use more Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I'm good on this Gohan. This Goten I could use more of. Good on Beerus. You got all the second anniversary. You got most of the second anniversary units on here, outside of Vegito Blue, which is actually kind of interesting that he's not on here. But Bardock, Kefla, this Vegito's good. There's talks about possibly this Rose maybe getting a Zenkai at some point, so that's not bad. Android 21's been on every banner. That's not a big deal. So yeah, this is a pretty good banner. There's a lot of filler here, so the odds of you getting a LF unit in these summons, don't necessarily expect it, but definitely do the summons just for this because this is worthwhile. This is worthwhile. Now let me take a look and see. I don't think we'll see. There's nothing for sales. I don't think I can actually look and see what the sales are. Maybe in the news. Will it show in the news? No, it wouldn't show up in the news. All right. Well, anyway, that's more or less the end of this video. This is a relatively shorter one compared to what we normally do. So, again, do the story missions. Make sure that and then just pay attention to like what's going on, because there might actually be something going on with the story after this particular part. So definitely keep that in mind. Definitely do the new summon banner because and get that Legends Limited Z power. If all else fails, like, just do it for that. New step up banner or new ladder event, and then obviously this bar or this the new Broly is going to be pretty gonna be pretty interesting. This is a lot of interesting content that came this week. So, but anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again for the love and support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.